this podcast, today we're talking about the perfect pairing between coaching and being a yogi or yoga instructor. So coach meets yogi, a perfect pairing. So what are the three things that yoga and coaching has in common? Well, for sure, both of them are focusing on personal growth. A coach and the yoga instructor will emphasize on the individual's needs to set objectives, to define what their personal growth could mean. And while yoga promotes more the self-awareness in their body and their posture, the coach will identify and help the coachee identify what they want to gain out of their lives. So this is where the professional and the personal growth comes in. And this is great for the body, but also the mind, the spirit, and the person in general. Also, both of them use an holistic approach. Coaching and yoga both take an holistic view on the individual, and that's not just on the well-being, but in the mental, emotional, and physical aspect of the person. So they can use all kinds of techniques that will help the person be more mindful, understand how to control a few things like breath, posture, tensions in the body or tensions in life, tensions in what they're thinking, etc., etc. So the holistic approach is super important in both of them, coaching and yoga. And also both of them, yoga instructor as well as the coach, will definitely focus on the empowerment and self-discovery. Both practices will encourage the person to not only think about what they want to get out of the coaching session or out of the yoga session, so the improvement they want to do, but it identifies well their strength, overcoming obstacles in their body, in their pose, but as well in their lives. So what comes in the body also comes in the mind, and there's a huge connection between the two. So that's why I love coaching and I love yoga. If you want to dig further, there are exercises as well that the coach and the yoga instructor will definitely do, probably with a few distinctions, but basically they will do a lot of these similarities. A lot of times when I have a coaching client, and as an individual or as a group, we will start with breathing exercise. And the simple reason behind this is that a lot of us struggle with being connected all the time, having trouble staying focused or being present. And if we want to get the most out of the hour or the hour and a half session of coaching, same as the yoga session, you don't want to think about all the things that you need to do while you're practicing your poses. You want to be able to just focus on the pose, the breathing, and the exercise, and the calmness that you want to instill. So a lot of times we'll start with breathing exercise. In my coaching practice, I will invite the person to sit comfortably, just close their eyes, focus on their breathing and being more self-aware in their body. And this helps them being more present. And then we can start the session. And I can start as a coach with having someone in front of me who's fully present and attentive to the question. The yoga instructor will do the same. They will start with breathing, with mindfulness exercise, maybe releasing some tensions in the body, and then you will start the session, the yoga session, with being more mindful a state. Another thing that we do that is super similar is the practice of goal setting. In coaching, we often guide the client to a certain process where we help the person identify what do they want to get out of the coaching conversation, out of the coaching program, and they want to focus on the state that they're in right now and where they want to go. And this is super important because a lot of times they spend a lot of moments and minutes just have a conversation about things that happened in the past, what people did to you, and then you're sort of rambling for a lot of time and losing a lot of time. And by doing this, yes, it might just relieve some pressure, but at the same time, it's not helpful because you're not changing anything, and you don't set any desired outcome. Same thing with goal settings in the yoga session. I often, as a yoga instructor, ask them, what's your intention for the session? What intention are standing people around you? What's your intention for someone else, for the group, for example, for the body, etc., etc. So a lot of time, we spend a lot of time asking a lot of questions or helping the participant or the client being guided towards a certain goal. And that's very, very useful because we want to build the habit. It's like building muscles. You want to build the habits, and you want to make sure that the person is able to do it on their own after that. And that's why we're setting those goals. And at the same time, it helps the person focus on that goal and not just focus on the frustrations that they might have by practicing a pose because they're not as flexible as they wish they could be, or because there are frustrations in their lives and they're just focusing on that and they are missing out a lot of other stuff. Another thing that we have in common, yoga and the yogi and the coach, is visualization techniques. The coach can help in the process of having a conversation, help the clients through identifying moments in their life where they felt confident, they memorize and they visualize it, and they go back to how did they feel, how what they were seeing, what they were hearing, and at the same time it helps them just focus on that state, and then they can modelize that state for the future. And they can remember that they've been there and they're not just in that stress mode. Same thing with a yoga instructor. A lot of us use visualization in the shavasana, like the laying down pose or the lotus pose, where you're sitting comfortably and you breathe in and you imagine, you visualize images that makes you feel good, calm, and bring you that state of mind or a state of inner peace that you want to be using more often. The other thing that we have is body awareness. In coaching, I've been using it quite a lot because a lot of times people, when they talk about stressful situations or frustration, their body gets super tensed. And people are not aware of that. And by not being aware of that, it could create headaches, it could create tensions in the shoulders, and you have a posture and a pose and the way you project yourself might be creating some tensions in your environment with people. So I bring a lot of people in my coaching clients, a lot of self-awareness in how they show up, how do they walk, how do they sit, and when they're frustrated, what's their face look like, how's the tension showing up in their body, because you know what, people feel it, people see it. And if you want to have a positive impact, then you want to have collaboration around you, because if you want to attain your goal, you will need collaboration, you will need to have people on your side. It definitely helps to be more self-aware of your body and how you show up and how you switch it if you need to switch it to a more positive state. The same thing applies in the yoga session. How you feel in your mat, on how do you position yourself, how is your weight leaning forward, leaning back, right, left, and how do you bring back that softness in your body by being solid, but at the same time not being tensed all the time. So you need to learn to let go, to release, to calm down, and to be in your power, in your center of power. And this is what we practice with yoga. So a lot of links between the two. And the fifth one is the reflective practice. A lot of times I end my coaching sessions with what was helpful in this session, what are you retaining, what are you getting out of this, what are the three main words that comes to your head when you think about this session, what's your energy level on a scale of 1 to 10 after this session, how do you feel, what do you think, what was helpful in this session, what are you retaining, what are you getting out of this, what are the three main words that comes to your head when you think about the session, what's your energy level on a scale of 1 to 10 after this session, how do you feel, what do you think, what was helpful, and focus on what was helpful. And sometimes I also ask what was not helpful, what triggered something, because I want to get to learn and to know my coachee. Same thing happens in the yoga session. A lot of times I would say, what was helpful in this practice, what pose did you like, what posture did you like, what was maybe something irrelevant for you, what do you think you need to work on, what will you practice in the future. So that reflective practice is super important, because you know what, at the end of the day, in all the things that I do for yoga and coaching and all the yoga instructors and coaches, we all have one objective that is common, and this is helping you create and build that space without needing us all the time, meaning you don't need a coach over your shoulder or yoga instructor every time you're breathing on a daily basis. So you need to be able to be mindful and to be at the same time being able to repeat these things. So imagine if all yoga instructors and teachers and parents and coaches could be blending their approach. I mean, if a teacher, elementary teacher, if a special educator, if a parent could learn to practice this for themselves, even in, for example, the school system, if you have a direction, members of the personnel could use those practice for themselves and being more self-aware, we could have the perfect environment for us to grow, to have diversity, inclusion, more calmness, and more respect. So this is the objective, helping people, and this is why I've created Peda Yoga. It's a perfect blend between yoga, coaching, mindfulness, and helping people grow in that space, safe space. So that's why Peda Yoga exists. That's why Action Coaching exists, is because we want to help the education system adopt these techniques. We want to help parents adopt these techniques. We want to help leaders to adopt those techniques, because in the long run, children will benefit from it. So imagine if we could start integrating those techniques as soon as they're 3, 4, 5-year-olds. Imagine the adult that they will become, because I kind of learned that when I was a bit older and I wish I've learned that in the school system. So if you're interested by the technique, coaching, or yoga, and if you want to learn more on how to integrate that easily in your practice, in your teachings, at home as a parent, or in your education system, contact me. I'd be more than happy to help give you more tools. I wish you all the best in changing that culture and building the culture that you want to have. And I say to you when I leave, namaste.